Into the Veil patch number 12 is now live in Albion Online, and it comes with some significant changes to your favorite weapons and items. So let us take a look at how it can affect your playstyle and the overall meta in Albion Online. Okay, let's Arcane Staffs. The addition of Chain Missile allowed Arcane Staffs to be played like a traditional DPS, that's true. Since then though, Magic Shock was used far less, as Chain Missile greatly outshone it. To make it more competitive for this slot again, the magic or the output of the Magic Shock has been increased so that it is more attractive as a damage and crowd control alternative. This is very bad for fire users. Protective Beam now allows movement with 50% penalty, similar to the defensive beams. Okay, so Magic Shock on all Arcane Staffs, the damage for the base is 135 to 150. To those who are not familiar with the Magic Shock, this is the Magic Shock. It is sort of similar to how Smite works for the Holy Staff. It's pretty much like the same animation and everything, the same damage, the same way of like damaging as well. But this silences your opponent by 1.28 seconds. That is actually very, very good for against casters, because you can basically cancel any of their casting skills. Chain Missile has always been like the go-to for Arcanes for the longest time, ever since its inception. But the biggest difference here is that Magic Shock actually has 4.25 seconds cooldown. So I don't know if the increased damage will make it attractive for a lot of players, because this has a 3-second cooldown. There's a 4.25 second cooldown. Higher damage, of course, but we'll see how it goes. It has a cast time as well. This has no cast time. I mean, significantly less cast time, longer range. So I don't know if that is going to change it. But in terms of playstyle, though, this is going to be more of a brawl kite. This is more of like a kitey playstyle anyways. So we'll see how it goes. Protective Beam on the Enigmatic Staff. The caster can now move while channeling. So it's similar to the Holy Beam. It's 50% reduced movement speed, but while you are casting the Enigmatic Staff E, you can now move. You bought another 30 days at 17.3. Let's go. Gold is absolutely going down some more. If you are looking to purchase gold right now or premium right now, I would actually wait. I will wait for this to settle. You will going to see how it will settle. All right. You will. It's going to be a very, very clear sign. It will plateau. It will flatten. But right now it's too volatile. A lot of the sharks, a lot of the hoarders, absolutely just sold all of their gold. So just wait. Just wait. No one uses it in corrupted dungeons. That's right. So they are buffing it in the hopes of maybe someone using it. All right, Cursed Staffs. Grudge energy cost was considerably lower than the other W abilities, so it has now been increased. Okay, it's a good change for us, because Grudge has always been like that one skill that's always been really, really good. And they nerfed it a while back, and it basically disappeared. They buffed it. It became meta. Now they're nerfing it just a little bit. The Grudge ability definitely will probably be less used in some of the lower level fights in 2v2 Hellgates, most likely, because when you use Grudge and you cannot time your one-shot ability, you are going to run into mana issues if you're not using like a Limb Escape, because even if you use the energetic passive on your Curse Staff, sometimes you want to use the Grudge stacks, max it at 4 before using a normal attack, and you only can sort of use like 4 normal attacks. It doesn't really give you that much energy back. So this is a significant nerf, I would say, to the Grudge users, especially in 2v2 Hellgates. Fire Staffs. The Fire Staffs have been buffed just a tad. they actually just made it the same as last year's range. The firebolt on all the fire staff, this is the Q1, will now have an additional 1 meter range. I specifically remember when they nerfed the Q1 of the fire staff from 13 meters to 12 meters. Didn't really have that much effect, to be honest with you. We're changing it back from 12 meters to 13 meters. I don't really see a lot of changes, significant changes with this, but they say to increase the firebolt's playability in group fights, its range has been increased to enable more flexible positioning in the back line. There you go. I don't see it changing anything for me anyways, because I usually do it for like 1v1, 2v2. That 1 meter range, not really huge. All right, for the hammer, the change to the diminishing returns duration in this patch should benefit hammers in general. But Great Hammer was already very strong in the mist due to its mobility and reliable crowd control. To make it less mobile here, Tackle's cooldown has been increased. To make it stronger in group fights though, hitting multiple enemies will reduce its cooldown. Ah, that's very good. So Great Hammer with the Stalker Jacket has been one of the go-to 8.3 builds in the mist. It just has insane amount of CC. They use Stalker Jacket to deal insane amount of damage. Now for 1v1, they are nerfing it from 15 seconds to 20 seconds cooldown. So that's a 33% increase in the cooldown. Quite significant. But in order to not nerf it for group plays, when you hit one player, it reduces by 20%. If you hit another player, it reduces by another 20%. So reducing its cooldown by 40%. Sort of timing it with the same here. They increased it by 33%. But you have the opportunity to decrease it by 40% if you hit up to 2 enemies. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good balance here. I want to see more of this, actually. I want to see more of this in terms of like how they balance things, because this is a very good way of balancing things. Sort of making it so for solo and like group PvP. All right, for the maces, air compressor has been the primary ability in large-scale fights, absolutely, to engage and create clumps of players. In combination with the deep leap, this could be achieved very quickly and with low resource investment. That is true. It's so true, because you can just see air compressor and then deep leap being used in like clumps and small scales in like faction fights way too often. To give enemies more time to react, its hit delay has been increased and self-slow added. Ooh, it has a self-slow. So air compressor has been used alongside Invis. So in like bomb squads, alongside Invis, they go air compressor and deep leap. Now against a more conventional small scale fights, they may now need to use like some sort of like blink or movement speed boost, because they've added a self-slow of 30% for 2.5 seconds and increased the hit delay to 1.5 seconds. So it gives players more time to react. And with the additional self-slow, this might be a double jeopardy here. You're self-slowing and then you have a longer hit delay. So we might see air compressor pretty much die in a lot of like small scale fights. I'm not so sure though, but I feel like this is like a very huge nerf. Double-bladed staff has been a dominant weapon in the mist due to its high mobility. So soaring swipe's cooldown has been increased to reduce its mobility in the long run. Okay, that's pretty good. Particularly when trying to escape. That is so true. They can just escape almost like any situation. But maintaining its identity as a very quick engage. Ooh, okay. So the soaring swipe cooldown from 15 seconds to 18 seconds. Not really a lot. I wouldn't say that's a big nerf. I think double-bladed staff is still going to dominate, especially in the 8.3 department. Still going to dominate. This is pretty much a non-nerf nerf. Our tornadoes knock up and slow do not scale with item power, so to diminish the increased energy cost that comes with the higher item power, this is now percentage based. Its stand time has been further reduced, while an issue where it's slow would trigger diminishing returns has been addressed. So the tornado on the Soul Scythe now has a shorter stand time, has a 15% energy cost compared to like 21 base, but this scales with item power. So this is like a balanced line here. And the tornado no longer triggers slow diminishing returns. So we might see more Soul Scythe Spirit Hunter combo in 2v2 Hellgates and probably in 2v2 Mist because of this change. But again, a very minor change, I would say. In most cases, Spirit Spear has been outclassed by Lunging Strike. That's true. Except for Trinity Spear builds. That is very, very true. To open up more possibilities for Spirit Spear on other spear weapons, an attack damage buff has been added, and the extra cost energy after the maximum amount of charges is reached has been reduced. Oh no! Oh, okay. Since Trinity Spear, this was my worry. Since Trinity Spear profits immensely from Spirit Spear buff, that's so true. The attack speed buff from Spectral Trident has been reduced in order that it is not too strong in Corrupted Dungeons. Thank you so much. I was so worried because Trinity Spear has been like that one constant counter to my Fire Staff build that I thought they were not going to change anything with the Trinity Spears. Okay, that's good. Okay. Spirit Spear on all spears added 5% attack damage increase per stack. That is significant. So additional 15% attack damage increase. Wow. Energy cost when reaching the maximum charges. Whoa, it's cut to half? That is significant. They only reduced it by 15%? Well, I guess they increased the attack damage by 15%, reduced the speed buff by 15% for Trinity Spears. That sort of balances it out, but with the reduced activation mana for the charges for the Spirit Spear, I can see a lot of Trinity Spears having at the time of their lives in Stalker and Spear and maybe Slayer Corrupted Dungeons because of this change. Ooh. All right, I am worried about the Trinity Spear against the Fire Staff. We shall see. We shall see. This got me worried. This is getting me worried a little bit. We might see more Trinity Spears. Is this a buff to one-hand spears too? Yes. So technically on all spears. On all spears, there's a 5% attack damage increase per stack and reduced activation cost, pretty much. War Gloves, Infernal Boulders, has been very difficult to reliably hit with. That is true. Therefore, its cast time has been reduced and its damage focused on the first two boulder hits to give it much more reliable damage profile, opening it up for different contents. Ooh. Ooh. So they're making it so that the damage now is heavily on the first and second boulder bounce rather than a consistent 140. They're making it so that 210 is the first one, 140 is the same for the second, and reduced on the third, and reducing the cast time. Okay, so we might see more Hellfire Hands in Stalker Corrupted Dungeons, definitely. A lot more cheese builds in Stalker Corrupted Dungeons, but if you are using the Fire Staff, it is very easy. Firewall pretty much will do the trick, and like Hunter Hood is still going to be the biggest counter to these. I'm not really too worried about this, but I can see more War Gloves, Hellfire Hands in particular, being used in Stalker Corrupted dungeons. If you don't have any reflex or any way to like move away from their combo, you're pretty much effed. But if you're using a fire staff, you shouldn't even be worried. All right, helmets. Let's move on to the helmets. This is actually a lot of changes. Emergency shield has seen much use recently. So to make it more reliable, its cooldown has been reduced and its shield value has been increased, even when used above 40% health threshold. Ooh. Emergency shield on the Guardian helmet now is a 30 seconds cooldown, and shield above 40% is increased by 33%, but shield below 40% is still the same. Ooh, 30 seconds cooldown. I can see this being used in 2v2 Hellgates, especially against Curse Staffs and Fire Staffs. 30 seconds cooldown without food and increasing that shield from 150 to 200 actually is very significant. I can see a lot of players using Guardian Helmet now in like a swap maybe for the Mist, in a very good option for the helmet piece in 2v2 Hellgates, because we'll see a lot more fires like bleed stacks as well. Just getting that shield off against like daggers maybe, so that your healer has more opportunity to heal you, because they will use that forbidden stab to negate healing. You can use your Guardian helmet, and because it has 30 seconds cooldown before food and added shield above 40%, this is a very good option now for 2v2 Hellgate. All right, for the shoes, the delayed teleport has become very niche. That is so true too. So to make it a suitable engage option, its cooldown has been reduced. This also increases its mobility and makes it more competitive against other blink shoes that can dodge abilities in the moment rather than relying on prediction. Delayed teleport is now 20 seconds to 15 seconds. Not a lot of change here. I think it is still going to be used for like Gallatin pairs and all that. It's a very good very good cooldown though. 15 seconds now. I can't wait for great players, those who create builds, like weird builds, to use this, because I cannot see a build using this now, but I'm not them, so I'll just wait for them to pretty much create a build for this Mage Sandals. Position swap has become underused. To bring it back as an alternative option for tanks, its range has been increased, improving both its aggressive and defensive play. Ooh, you see this more on like high level play in like Crystal League 5v5 Hellgates, and in Crystal Leagues and in arenas. So this is a very good change for tanks. That's pretty much it. Those are like the significant changes for this patch notes. The biggest though, absolutely the biggest, is this gold market purchase fees.